Bitter criticism, a regular day on the emergency track with Milu. Milu is not that small as you think, because this is just the emergency is not that friendly as she seems not that friendly. And Tommy over here is not that nice neither. Tommy is not that nice with male huge dogs. What do you tell Milu? Milu, what do you say? Milu is not that clean as he looks. We are just trying to find the Elanus leucurus. We never see him again. And this morning I lost a lot of tangerines. Fall from my pocket, and they got rotten with moss. So here we go, reading Russia Today. We're reading forbidden news. Bitter criticism. The forbidden news from the West. The West forbidden news. Eventually I will take Tommy. I will take Tommy with me. Russia Today, breaking news. I just read this yesterday. Yesterday was a lost episode. I just read this news. Course Gambit, how Ukraine's ambitious attack has led it to the brink of military disaster, Russia-Ukraine conflict. We have a reunion there. Look, there's a reunion there. A dog reunion, yeah. Somehow these dogs are super happy today. I don't know why. Hey, bitches, why are you so happy today? What's going on? Huh? It's a regular day. Woo, regular day. Those are dogs. Those dogs are fascists. They are always complaining about. They're always fighting for no reason. Stupid dogs. But they defend you. They protect you. That no one can deny that. Dogs protect you. And they do sports. They do some sports. They try to catch the stones. Stoned dogs. So this episode from yesterday, now I know almost everything about the Kursk invasion 1 month ago, but I really don't care. I'm going to read another thing. Western governments are in a crisis of their own making. Absolutely. September 7. Home World News. Western governments are in a crisis of their own making by blindly following the US into its proxy wars. EU leaders have triggered a backlash that threatens to bring them down. This article was by Graham Rice something. Is an Australian journalist and former media lawyer whose work has been published in the Australian, the Sydney Morning Herald, The Age, the Sunday Mail, the Spectator, and Quadrant. Well, we have a photograph on Olaf Scholz German Chancellor Olaf Scholz speaks to the media during a press conference on July 24, 2024 in Berlin, Germany. As the American empire's proxy wars in Palestine and Ukraine escalate, the acute state of political instability that characterizes most Western democracies, not surprisingly intensified of late. The United States is currently in the middle of a bitterly contested presidential election race, with voters due to go to the polls on November 6. United States election, November 6. Go Trump, I guess. Go Trump. Oh. Just 1 second, yeah. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris both recently confirmed their commitment to the Netanyahu government in Israel, as it continues to kill civilians with impunity in Gaza and launch military incursions in the West Bank. And both candidates continue somewhat less enthusiastically to support the Zelensky regime in Ukraine. Beneath all the obligatory ideological fervor and celebrity glitz and glamour, it is Donald Trump who has defined the character and parameters of the presidential election. Trump is a convicted felon who continues to peddle his discredited, quote, stolen election narrative. On January 6, 2021, it was Trump who encouraged his supporters to invade the Capitol building in order to prevent his own Vice President Mike Pence from certifying the 2020 election result, as he was obliged to do by the Constitution. The rioters shouted, "Kill Pence!" and Pence and his family were unreached to safety by security guards. Trump also tried to pressure election officials into ruling that he had won the election in some states, a matter that he is currently being prosecuted for. A decade ago, a politician who had acted in this manner could not have become a candidate for president, and no major party will have endorsed him. Trump brazenly defended his conduct in an interview this week, as he campaigns on a platform based upon transparent lies and crude insults, and promises to wreak vengeance and retribution upon his political opponents should he become president. It is a measure of the debasement of American politics that Harris rarely refers to Trump transgression. To Trump transgression. To Trump transgressions against liberal democracy, because they seemingly no longer matter to most American voters. It is far more effective, so it seems, for Harris to ridicule Trump by calling him weird and creepy. Although Harris has recently pulled ahead in the polls, the election result remains uncertain because over 70 million of the 150 million Americans who voted to vote are rushed-on Trump supporters. No matter who wins in November, the toxic political divisions that have crippled America for the past decade can only intensify. As in 2020, Trump and his more rabid supporters will not accept defeat and has already predicted a bloodbath. Should he lose? Harris' assertion that she can unite America is magical thinking of the most self-delusional kind. So much for the future of bilateral democracy and political stability within the declining American empire. So much for the future of liberal democracy and political stability within the declining American empire. You know, as I was watching yesterday I watched the fight between Mike Tyson and I don't remember now, Larry Holmes, I guess. Trump was there, very young, I guess. Not too young, but Trump was there. So I guess that was Trump means about make America great again. I'm not criticizing Trump. That fight was great, but who knows? In the UK, the newly elected Labour Prime Minister Keir Starmer has now rescinded from his election promise to usher in a new era of prosperity for Britain. Just weeks after the election win, Starmer informed Britons that they face at least 10 years of austerity before the country will be able to recover from its current state of economic decline and internal division, a state of affairs that apparently escaped Starmer's notice until after his election victory. Notwithstanding the recent anti-immigrant riots in numerous UK cities, Starmer seems to believe that British voters will passively accept a decade of austerity and tax increases, and that Labour's large majority in the House of Commons will protect him from their wrath. Like Harris and Trump, Starmer remains steadfastly committed to America's proxy wars in Palestine and Ukraine, notwithstanding the fact that many Britons are fiercely opposed to both of them. Recent polls show that Labour's popularity has already declined, and the large Labour backbench is growing restless, as it becomes clear that Starmer cannot deliver on Labour's major election promises. His decision this week to cut the winter energy payment to pensioners threatens to provoke a backbench revolt. The Conservative Party remains hopelessly divided and is yet to elect a new leader. The Conservative Party. And the candidates for leader are an unimpressive collection of political non-entities. In such circumstances, one can expect Britons to become progressively more disenchanted with the Starmer government. Whether this discontent manifests itself in violent protests and or increased support for Nigel Farage's populist Reform Party is as yet unclear. In Germany, political instability has gone much further than in the UK, due in large part to the dire economic effects of the conflict in Ukraine. The popularity of the ramshackle Scholz, I don't know what's ramshackle Scholz. Ramshackle Scholz coalition government made up of Social Democrats, Free Democrats, and Greens has plummeted recently, and it appears certain to be thrown out of office at next year's election if it survives until then. Even so, Scholz remains Luna. Shh. So even so, Scholz remains firmly committed to America's proxy wars, despite a massive opposition to them within Germany that has manifested itself politically in the rise of electorally successful populist parties from both the right and the left. This week's regional election in Thuringia and Saxony in the former East Germany have seen the rise of a right-wing populist party, AfD, and a newly formed left-wing populist party, BSW. Both of these parties strongly oppose Germany's involvement in the conflict in Ukraine, as well as mass immigration. Luna! The AfD obtained 30% of votes in these regional elections, and the BSW around 15%. The Social Democrat, Free Democrat and Greens vote collapsed completely, with these parties pulling around 5% or less. The mainstream parties have stated that they will not enter into coalition governments with the AfD, which they dismiss as a neo-Nazi organization. And this refusal, given the unpopularity of Scholz's unstable coalition, can only lead to further political instability. Whether the AfD and the BSW pull as well nationally and in West Germany is unclear, but it is clear that these parties now constitute a significant political force in Germany. Scholz described this week's election results as worrying and condemned what he termed right-wing extremists for weakening the economy, dividing society, and ruining Germany's reputation. All criticism that can, of course, be legitimately leveled at Scholz's own inept coalition government. Meanwhile, France has been plagued by months of political paralysis, as President Emmanuel Macron has stubbornly refused to appoint a prime minister after the recent national election. The early vote, foolishly called by Macron, saw the vote of centrist party collapse, together with the race of a new radical left-wing bloc and significant ongoing electoral support for the right-wing National Rally. Macron's party, the New Left Coalition, and the National Rally each attract around 30% of the vote, thereby creating a divisive political stalemate in National Assembly. Macron has refused to name a prime minister from the left, and late this week belatedly appointed elderly conservative politician Michel Barnier. Political instability in France is now certain to intensify because the left-wing coalition bloc refuses to accept Barnier as a legitimate prime minister. One leader of the bloc having already accused Macron of stealing the election by appointing him. Nor it is clear that Barnier can cobble together a viable government or even survive a non-confidence motion. In Australia, the Albanese Labour government, governing with a slim two-seat in Australia, the Albanese Labour government, governing with a slim two-seat majority, a slim two-seat majority, has become increasingly unpopular over the past 2 years and is due to face an election early in 2025. Albanese's unwavering support for the Netanyahu government has caused deep divisions within the Labour Party and has caused Muslim voters, who are a sizable majority in a number of crucial Labour held seats, to desert the party. Albanese's unwavering support. So Australia is supporting Israel. A Labour government supporting Israel. In Australia, no populist party of any significance has yet emerged, and next year's election will probably result in a hung parliament, with a majority Labour government the most likely outcome. This can only result in ongoing political instability. The following general conclusions can be drawn from the above analysis. Politics in the West is becoming increasingly unstable and dysfunctional due to the collapse of traditional centrist parties and the rise of populist parties on the right and left. This political realignment has been caused by the emergence of a globalized economy based upon renewable energy and technological change deriving from the internet. That's pretty interesting. This came out of nowhere. Politics in the West is becoming increasingly unstable and dysfunctional due to the collapse of traditional centrist parties and the rise of populist parties. The next one. This political realignment has been caused by the emergence of a globalized economy based upon renewable energy and technological change deriving from the internet. Technological change deriving from the internet. Is that true? I don't think so, because the world is still materialist, you know? The world is still materialist. So this is just a capitalist crisis. I'm sorry, Russia Today. I'm sorry, but this is just a capitalist regular crisis. This is a capitalist material very regular crisis. It happened the same thing 100 years ago, you know? It's the same crisis. This economic revolution has resulted in the economic and social displacement of the traditional working class and segments of the older middle class, and given the rise to fierce ideological conflict in the West. These developments have been led and controlled by global elites that, unlike the more progressive elements of the ruling elites that they have replaced, are unwilling to share their extreme wealth or incorporate those groups that they have displaced into the new society that they have created. These global elites refuse to acknowledge as legitimate any form of discontent with or opposition to, either ideological or political. The new world order that they control and lavishly benefit from. These global elites uncritically and fervently support the American empire's misguided proxy wars, and do the politicians and cravenly do the bidding, including Harris, Starmer, Scholz, Macron, and Albanese. The negative effect of global elite policies and their neo-totalitarian ideologies have generated a powerful populist political backlash that has led to ongoing political instability. Contemporary political leaders in the West are four-rate politicians. Think of Liz Truss, who are simply incapable of dealing with the acute political and economic problems that global elite policies generate. Politics in the West has become an exercise in ongoing crisis management. It is true that populist political leaders do not have viable solutions to the fundamental problems that confront Western liberal democracies. But in taking a strong stance against the American empire's proxy wars, some populist politicians in Europe are paradoxically attempting to inject some much needed rationality into politics in the West. Whether the attempt will succeed is very much an open question. The statement, views, and opinions expressed in this column are solely those of the author and do not necessarily represent those of Russia today. I like it. It is true that populist political leaders do not have viable solutions to the fundamental problems that confront Western liberal democracies. But in taking a strong stance against the American empire's proxy wars, some populist politicians in Europe are paradoxically attempting to inject some much needed rationality into politics in the West. Yeah. Paradoxically, yeah, this is a paradox because the right wing is being a Nazi, isn't it? I don't know what else I'm going to read. I'm going to read some. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to read. This is interesting. Look, we have a news that says Russian sanctions will stay until U.S. collapses. Medvedev. I don't know who is this article. There's nothing signed in it. Russia sanctions will stay until U.S. collapses. September 7, 2024. Russia and former Soviet Union. Neither Trump nor Harris will leave restrictions on Moscow, the former Russian president has predicted. While reaching sanctions on Russia will remain in place no matter who wins the US presidential election in November, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has said. Earlier this week, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump pledged to use sanctions as little as possible if he makes a return to the White House. In a Telegram post on Saturday, Medvedev insisted that Trump's comment do not mean he will lift the penalties enforced against Moscow. Quote, for all his apparent bravado as an outsider, Trump is ultimately an establishment insider. Yeah. Yes, he is an eccentric narcissist, but he is also a pragmatist. The official who now serves as deputy chair of the Russian Security Council said, the former US president understands that sanctions harm the dollar's role as the international reserve currency. But for him, it is still an insufficient reason to stage a revolution in the US and go against the anti-Russian line of the notorious deep state, which is more stronger than any Trump, Medvedev argued. As for the Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris, one should not expect any surprises from her if she wins the election, Medvedev predicted. Quote, she is inexperienced and, according to her enemies, just plain stupid. Beautiful, meaningless speeches and boring correct answers to questions will be prepared for her. Yeah. That's what I see on her too. I will read again. She is inexperienced and, according to her enemies, just plain stupid. Beautiful, meaningless speeches and boring, correct answers to questions will be prepared for her, which she will read off a teleprompter while laughing contagiously. He said, "This is absolutely what I think about Kamala Harris. But you know, it's a very pressure. There's a lot of pressure in her job. So I guess most of people in the world don't support this pressure. You know, most of people in the world just don't know what to do with all this pressure. You know, it's normal. It's normal. She's just normal. You know, but that's not good enough." It's not good enough to be a president of the United States, you know, or any president. The former Russian president noted that the Soviet Union was under sanctions for most of the 20th century. Now Russia is facing similar treatment from the US and its allies, but on a much larger, unprecedented scale, he added. Quote, So it is sanctions forever, or rather until the US collapses during an imminent new civil war. Alright, so it is sanctions forever, or rather until the US collapses during an imminent new civil war. After all, Hollywood makes films about this for a reason, Medvedev wrote. I never saw a movie about American Civil War, Medvedev, but I will give you all the reason because I like Medvedev, you know. He appeared to be referring the recent Civil War movie, directed by Alex Garland, which tells the story of a team of war reporters, traveling. Nobody cares about Civil War, you know. Nobody wants to see that. Traveling across America to interview the president amid fighting between the federal government and a Texas and California-led secessionist movement. That could be real, you know. Texas and California, yeah. They may be, you know, it's pretty common if you have social media. If you have a Facebook account, you probably know that California has a GDP bigger than, I don't know, Japan, you know? California has a huge GDP. He appeared to be referencing the recent Civil War movie directed by Alex Garland, which tells the story of a team of war reporters traveling across America to interview the president amid fighting between the federal government and a Texas and California-led secessionist movement. The US and its allies have imposed a record 22,000 sanctions on Moscow since 2024, when Crimea rejoined Russia and a conflict between Ukraine and the Donbas republics broke out following a Western-backed coup in Kiev. The number of course spiked after the launch of Moscow's military operation against Ukraine in February 2022. Russian authorities have condemned the sanctions as illegal, responding with travel bans on Western officials and with other measures. So for today, that's it from Russia Today. I'm going to go to Al Jazeera. Maybe I will. Yeah. No, I don't. No. I will not do the Al Jazeera genocide dossier now. I'm just going to read the. I'm going back to Cgtn, yeah. Forget about Al Jazeera, you know, they are too liberal to me. President Xi urges beef. There was a typhoon. There was a typhoon on Hainan, my beloved Hainan. I guess Hainan is great, but it's facing a typhoon, a tropical typhoon. China, September 7, 2024. President Xi Jinping urges beefed up disaster relief after super typhoon Haji strikes South China. September 8, 2024. Trees, we have a photograph, just a second. Trees are uprooted in Qinghai City after super typhoon Yaji makes landfall in Hainan province. Landfall. South China, September 7. Chinese President Xi Jinping has urged beefed up disaster relief efforts. Efforts after super typhoon Yaji struck the country's southern region. Yaji, the 11th typhoon of this year, made landfalls in the provinces of Hainan and Guangdong on Friday, leaving 4 people dead and 95 other injured. Very sad, very sad. I saw some images from, there's a lot of water over there. This is definitely because of the global change, I guess, because temperatures tend to go crazy, and all this humidity and these fronts, these cold fronts mixed with hot streams, you know, all these these shock streams, I guess this made all these typhoons. See also General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, CPC Central Committee, and Chairman of the Central Military Commission demanded efforts to ensure the safety of people's lives and their property. He called for mobilizing rescue efforts, handling well the relocation and resettlement of affected people, preventing a secondary disaster. Preventing secondary disaster and making every effort to minimize casualties. She also urged shift repair or damage infrastructure, including transportation, electricity, and communication systems, and demanded active post-disaster reconstruction to restore normal order of life and work as soon as possible. Li Qiang, a member of the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Chinese Premier, called for efforts to closely monitor the typhoon movement and fully implement various preventive measures against disaster. The State Flood Control and Drought Relief Headquarters has dispatched working groups to Hainan and Guangdong to guide the rescue efforts. The typhoon has affected over 1.2 million people in Hainan, Guangdong, and Guangxi Chuang Autonomous Region, and caused widespread power and communication outages for many users, as well as the collapse of some houses. Currently, power and communication have been partially restored. The source of this is Xinhua News Agency. So, why I love so much Hainan? Because I was living in Brazil. That's the simple answer. I know tropical climate is so much better. You know, all year long, you almost never get a flu. I love all kind of weathers, but I know there's something special about tropical weather. Anyway, so I hope the best for my beloved Hainan. My beloved Hainan. I'll read a second one. 13 hours ago. Climate, September 7, 2024. Super typhoon. And says, Super typhoon Yaji hits again. 1 million residents relocated. 1 million residents. 1 million. But you know, this is not too much for China. Super typhoon Yaji made its second landfall in Sichuan County, Zhangjiang City in South China's Guangdong province around 10 and 20 p.m. on Friday, according to the Provincial Meteorological Bureau. Yaji, the 11th typhoon of the year, has intensified into a super typhoon at level 17. The maximum wind force near its center reached 208.8 kilometers per hour when the typhoon made its second landfall in Guangdong. In Guangdong, we have a photograph. A large tree fell on the streets in Cgtn, Qionghai City, Hainan Province, September 6. Around 4 and 20 p.m. smoking weed, the weed time, around weed time on Friday, the typhoon made landfall in Wentian Township, Wengshan City in South China's Hainan Province, with winds exceeding 234 kilometers per hour. As of Friday noon, the typhoon had caused over 574,511 residents in Guangdong to be relocated, including 107,064 in Shangjiang, where the typhoon made its second landfall. All 84,873 fishing boats have sought shelter in harbors. So there's a lot of people relocated and just 4 dead. So it's not that bad. By 2:30 p.m., 72 of Guangdong's 94 waterway passenger Guangdong 94 waterway passenger routes had been suspended. Additionally, a total of 141.5 pairs of high-speed railway trains were suspended. Schools in 10 cities across the province were also temporarily closed. Oh, I want to be a teacher in Hainan. I want to be a language teacher of English, Spanish, Portuguese, whatever. Typhoon Yaji made landfall in Qionghai City, South China's Hainan Province, as people braved the strong winds and heavy rain while traveling. Previously, Hainan has relocated 419,367 residents before Super Typhoon Yaji made landfall in the province. Operations at 89 tourist attractions across Hainan were suspended, and traffic on roads, bridges, and tunnels was temporarily shut down in multiple cities. It is forecast that Yaji will continue moving northwest at a speed of 15 to 20 kilometers per hour, then enter the Beidou Gulf region, where its intensity is expected to diminish. It is expected to make another landfall around China-Vietnam border on Saturday. Saturday afternoon, after which its wind force is likely to rapidly decrease, according to Guangdong's Meteorological Bureau. Source: Xinhua News Agency. And that's it. Yeah, that's absolutely is. I have no time for losers. No more time for nothing. Nor losers. I was just fooling around. Chinese people, they are not losers at all. Everybody knows that. My opinion, Mao Zedong was the best thing that happens in all mankind history. In the political point of view, you know? In the political point of view. In the cultural point of view, I guess the Viking people.
Buenas tardes, ministra. Con la presión preventiva, la presión preventiva que fue decretada esta mañana al alcalde Jadwe, militantes del PC acusan una persecución política contra el jefe comunal, mientras que el presidente del partido, Lautaro Carmona, advirtió que el derrotero del edil puede afectar la calidad de la convivencia política antes de que se decretara la medida cautelar. Hace un llamado al partido a no horadar y a respetar las decisiones de una institución autónoma como es el Poder Judicial.
No, el gobierno va a insistir en esto. Nosotros como gobierno estamos cumpliendo una labor institucional y respetamos nuestra labor institucional como poder ejecutivo, un poder del Estado que es autónomo del poder judicial y que por lo tanto también respeta la autonomía de ese poder judicial. En la política, los liderazgos políticos, los partidos, los parlamentarios han jugado distintos roles. Hemos tenido muchísimos casos de alcaldes a los cuales se le han decretado prisión preventiva asociado a casos de corrupción u otros, ¿no? Y en todos los casos, sin distinción, como gobierno nosotros hemos señalado que respetamos la labor de la justicia. Y así vamos a seguir.
So this is very old. This is from when Jadwe was in prison. Well, I don't like this Camila Vallejo woman. She's true. Right this, but the whole country is very right-wing country. She's a right-winger. The country is right-winger. Chile is a fascist, stupid country.